Singapore is often hailed as a modern-day miracle, managing to transform from a third world to a first world nation, all in the span of 3 decades. This miracle, however, came at a price. For those who were unable to keep up with the system were left behind. One such demographic would be the elderly, who do not have children to support them or sufficient savings to tide them through. This, coupled with the lack of social security from the government, has forced many elderly with no other choices but to head to the streets to scavenge for anything that's of worth to survive. Although this happens in Singapore, it isn't uncommon to see the same scenes of poverty around Southeast Asia. We thought it would be interesting to find out the perspective on this topic, so we headed to Chinatown where many of such elderly reside. Hi, we're at Chinatown. Right now we're at Smith Street where a lot of tourists frequent. Mostly there's people selling clothes and a lot of cultural stuff. These elderlies that are living here, a lot of them used to work here. There's the Samsui women, there's the coolies, there's a lot of people, like most of them are Cantonese, and these Samsui women that we speak about, they made a vow not to marry, and most of them don't have like any relatives or anything, so they live alone in their 1-bedroom apartments here, and it's hard for them to make a living now because in the past they used to live hand to mouth, and now there's nobody there to feed them anymore. While we were walking, we noticed an elderly woman collecting cardboards at People's Park Food Centre. We later found out that she's Miss Fen, an elderly that's been living in Chinatown since the 1960s. When we asked her questions about her day, she remained silent and wary. But slowly, she warmed up to us. Miss Fen's one of the many elderly workers in Singapore. It is estimated that 23% of the elderly population are working as cleaners and labourers in Singapore. We also noticed that she would collect her cardboards from several different stalls, pack, flatten, and load these cardboards onto her trolley, and push the load of around 30 to 40 kg to a cardboard collection centre at Amoy Street. We also followed Miss Fen on one of her trips, and she led us to a back alley where the cardboard collection point was. She introduced us to the Lao Pan and unloads her cardboard on a traditional weighing scale. Her 30 kg load would earn her an average of $2 each trip. She makes 6 of such trips daily, allowing her to earn a little more than $10 a day. Each trip would usually take around an hour. We asked her why doesn't she find a fixed job that would pay much more than what she's earning now. But due to stiff competition from cheaper foreign labour, she revealed that elderly like her who lack skill sets are not an attractive workforce for employers looking for menial labour. 45% of senior citizens rely on their children as their main source of financial support. This cannot be an option for Miss Fen as she is single and doesn't have any relatives. During all of this, we also heard of another group of elderly who do this not for a livelihood, but as a way to kill time during retirement. Wanting to get a perspective of this group of elderly as well, we visited Grandma Tan. Grandma Tan lives at Block 5 at Chinatown. She's 83 this year. She sells scrap cardboards that she collects to supplement the allowance given to her by her 4 kids, and also as a way to fill the empty hours in the afternoon. How many kg of cardboard do you collect a day?
沒有一定有啊，
有時收，有時不
有時有，有時都冇。好似今年時嚟
一
講，
桶呢？
好似
一趟多少錢？一趟多重？30。
一公斤多少錢？
好少啦。
好少
有時咧就賣到1溝錢，有時賣到5角7格。
5角？
啊有啊，5角錢啊！好話冇聽講上嚟越老越論盡啊！即係計尋日前日啊，好似尋日嗰個香爐咧，嗰啲灰咪好多嘅。咁我就諗住話成日點香咧， 一時朝頭早點咗啦，到挨班又再點，摸落去，咦嗰個係圓嘅塔香，而家冇燒晒。
Do you have a lot of friends who also collect cardboard?
好多啊！呢個即係隔離馬拉又再隔一個，咁樣就兩個啫。樓上嗰啲，樓上嗰度又有9樓又有十二樓啊，20樓、16樓都有好多個，有啲人好似話計。
為什麼這麼多？
嚇？
Why are there so many people? Why are there so many
咁多啊？
elderly?
咩啊？
做咩咁多？
好多人喺度嚟，有啲啊，
很多老
這麼
人，
多，為什麼這麼多？
老
唔知啊，
人。
有啲人話收價樓嗰啲，我新聞講，於是都有人收。
他們有沒有孩子照顧他們？
有啊，有啲有啊。
After the interview with Dan Popo, we wanted to find out more on what happened after the elderly sold their recyclables. So, we headed to the industrial district where many of these paper mills operated. After we reached, we were greeted by the sight of paper shredders that shredded the cardboards which were transported by the middlemen. The paper mill would weigh the trucks coming in and the scrap papers, and after unloading their load, would then weigh the empty truck to find out the difference. They would then be paid an average of $150 per ton. These recycled materials would then be bought in cubes and further processed before they were resold in the recycled form again. Due to the lack of information from the paper mill, we were unable to gain more access on how to help the elderly from the recycling industry. The facilities that are owned by these paper mills are large in nature and would require a high cost of operation. With cardboard prices given to elderly ranging from 10 to 11 cents per kg, where is all the profit made? With Singapore's growing population being on the rise, there are many more problems that we would have to face. While we focused mainly on the elderly collecting cardboards in Singapore, there's a larger picture in this entire situation. Ultimately, the question that begs to be answered is, why do all these elderly have to work after they spend their entire life working? Just said bye to the auntie. She's going home now.